Hey guys, Matt, IronTrap Garage, and today we're going to do another quick video on the 32 Roadster, the green ruined Roadster. Last video was very satisfying. We got the full exhaust on it, and I was able to let you guys hear what it sounded like with the open dump tubes and also with the full exhaust all the way back, and it sounds really, really great. We were basically waiting on the radiator and some things to come in, and before we could actually drive it, the radiator is done. So we're going to mount up a cooling fan, a radiator fan on it, and most importantly, we're going to get the new record original tanks with a record in the center put on the car, and then we're most importantly going to take it for a drive. So not going to be a lot of work, but we're definitely going to take this thing for a spin around the block and see how it runs and sounds with its new engine and identity. So let's get started. All right, so before we get ahead of ourselves, we're going to test fit this hood. Grab the sides so they don't swing. Come on. All right.
Good?
Yep. Precariously. Just get over. Just set your sides. Get down over. And then, hold on, let's put the back in.
Yep.
This up. It needs to, there it goes. Okay. And I have those little shelves on the side so you can set the hood down on. Let me move that wiring. So, do you know where the screws are for the?
They are right there in that.
So this is slid.
Yeah. There we go.
See, look at that.
Yep. Yeah.
That's,
oh boy, we opened that up way too much, yeah.
so we thought, I mean, you could split the gap like we talked about,
right.
But
that's a lot of gap to split.
Just hold down.
Because the back looks about where it needs to be.
Yeah, same on my side. It's got about a 1/4 inch gap, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Get the belt fixed.
Yeah, we have to get the belt fixed, then
set the radiator where it needs to be.
Yep, and then see what we need
and
for
then,
clearance.
Yeah, and then fit the fan accordingly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we could measure, we should probably get the pulley fixed, then put the fan back on, measure what the length is, and then put the radiator on and the hood on and get it set, and then measure what we have to that little neck that's coming out.
Yep.
And then that'll give us, okay, we need this plus, whatever.
Yep.
So I just don't understand why or what, but it must be something with that intake, the power gen, and that pulley. There's a stack up somewhere that's pushing it forward.
It's just every one of them's a hair off, and
yeah,
all in the same direction, unfortunately.
So.
Yep.
All right. All right, so we ended up having to do in the last shot a bunch of modifications. So there was a number of things wrong. So I ended up turning a bushing. I had some of this extra, like this is, I think anybody who works on old stuff, yeah, crap with boxes like this. So I took an old bronze bushing that was kind of close, turned it down, bored it out, faced it, whatever, and we were able to space the pulley out. What was it, Steve? Roughly a quarter?
Close to a quarter.
Close to a quarter. Yeah, so close to a quarter inch. That pulley needed to come out because when we stood back, the belt was leaned real far. So between all those different things, we knew it wasn't going to be right. So we knew we were going to have to make some modifications. So that pushed the fan even closer to the radiator, and we finally got the radiator and the hood and everything fitting half decent, probably better than it was for gaps and everything. But now with where this overflow hose is soldered into the tank, no fault of Chris's, but the way it naturally came out the last time it was in a car, who knows when, it's coming out a little too far and was touching the fan. We looked at the DeLorean Roadster, and the hose came like immediately, like at a 45 back into the core, and that's what allows it to just barely clear the fan. So the only other option would have been to send the radiator back to Chris, have him desolder the tube, move it over like a 3/16 or whatever and change the angle, and it's a lot of work. So it's like we're already cutting and modifying. I will just add a little bit of, we'll just shorten this up just a little bit more so that it clears. So we did that, and I ended up having a piece of tubing that I just turned the face a little bit so there was a tap, like a slip fit into this piece, and then also I cut it down so there was a slip fit into the flange. We fit it all together on the lathe. The reason I did that, I know people that are machinists probably shaking their heads, but I'm a hack, it doesn't matter. So I put this on the lathe so this face was nice and square, and then we were able to slide this against it, and everything fit together on the ID and also on the outside, and it was all square and as good as I could get it with the abilities I have. So then I just made it a little bit shorter on the inside here so that it can fit on this little, what is it, 1/8 inch flange that sticks off of the pulley that's for the power gen. So if you're confused already,
Yeah,
I've been confused for days, at least all day. So now this fits, but the problem is we're gonna probably have to trim. We think this is like a truck 32 fan or something, because it's actually a little longer than the one that's on the blades are actually a little longer.
Yes, it is truck then.
They're a little longer than the one on the DeLorean car. I have no idea where
Yeah, it should be.
So the blades are actually like an inch, half an inch, or no, it was an inch overall. You're not gonna be able to turn it because of the.
Oh, right, because it's hitting the fan anyhow. Yep.
So it's like it was like an inch overall, a little longer than the one on the DeLorean car. So I guess it's off maybe a big truck, like a double B or something.
I think even the trucks are different than
so
car.
It looks different the way it's riveted and everything too, but it's the only one we had laying around. So we took a rare 32 part and chopped it all up and welded it and whatever. So, I know. We're already ruining the car, so we might as well ruin an original
Fan.
That's perfect.
So you can see it's just barely, this back edge is just barely touching the hose there. I mean, more than just barely, but it's touching. So if we re-radius this blade here and if we take out the extra that the length of the blades versus the one, should be perfect. But now we have the clearance here. The biggest thing is up here was where we were hitting. So now we can fit our finger in there. The DeLorean car is actually a little even closer than that, but to the core. But it's very safe with the engine rocking and the car moving around, plenty of room, and it should be good. So we're gonna trim the outside edges of the fan, and I can get back to building exhaust. That was
like 3 days later.
No, it was a full day. It was a full day distraction for sure.
Always something.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just going to install a water temperature gauge temporarily till we get a dash full of gauges in there, so we can keep an eye on things when we drive it around the block. There we go.
We got to work on the throttle spring a little bit. Steve just has a zip tie with a spring for right now. We didn't make a final spring, so I got the idle depth back down. I love the little shake of the car. You can tell little bits going on here, not just stock. So we'll let it warm up here. We put water in it with this water glass. First time using that. Ronnie Roadster told us it's something he uses on every engine. It helps seals up any minor leaks from head studs and stuff like that is often a problem with these cars. So he runs it the first time, lets it warm all the way up to 160 or 170. I think he said it was 140 or 160 it takes to activate it. And then the water glass basically propagates any kind of little tiny leaks, seals them up, and then you can drain everything out and just run it with normal coolant or water, whatever you choose. But working pretty good. Everything's clearing. Fans fanning. So I wanted to show you guys with the fan. These fans, oftentimes the problem I see is people make the fans too far away from the radiator. I made that mistake with some of my first cars I put together. Even the Pagoda City Coupe, I probably need to make it closer because the fan doesn't work as good as it should. These mechanical fans on these early cars, they need to be very close to the radiator. So this is a good test here. Put a shop rag right on the front of the radiator. There we go. So the fan's pulling. You could feel it with your hand, but if you throw, shop rag's not just a piece of paper. It's folded in half, a little thicker, and it's holding the weight. And then we got to fold it up even more. So it's holding the weight of that pulling through it. So it's pulling some air through there and actually doing its job. Not saying it's better than an electric fan, but we need every little bit of help we can get with these nostalgic cars or traditional cars where you want to run a mechanical fan. But 4-blade fan on this thing, and it is working pretty good so far.
All right, sounds good.
We got wiring kicking around.
Oh, that's right. That's for the cowl light. But we're gonna find out.
Get it out of the brakes.
Yeah.
Typical first drive. We're got wiring at our feet, but we got to do this before it gets to be like 100 degrees today.
Exactly. Yeah. It's only about 85 now.
Exhaust is nice and mild, Ella.
Yeah, it's got a real nice. It's just got a nice rumble to it. It's not crazy.
Surprisingly, the brakes are not that, I guess because they're kind of adjusted nice on this car.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think that's...
Somebody knew what they were doing with mechanical brakes.
Yep.
I gotta do something with this shifter. It's
a little too close yet, huh?
Yeah. I know the alignment is very bad on this car.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, I noticed it before. The toe is totally off. It makes the car drive all stupid because it's...
Good this way. Right, yeah, it just wanders all over the place.
Now you can hear the power jet.
Yep.
Unless that's the gears. Oh yeah, that feels like a hot rod now.
Wow, it's got a little more snot than that 4-cylinder, that's for sure.
Yeah, the brakes and the alignment are
questionable.
Well, the alignment's off, so when you hit the brakes, it starts to want to pull a little bit.
Yeah.
We literally don't have lights or anything else on it, so we're gonna...
Well, we do have a license plate.
We don't have a license plate on either. So.
Oh wait, no, we don't. Yeah, that's right. We took that off. Ooh.
Yeah. So we're gonna limit our test drive to just a quick little round-the-block deal.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I mean, it was good.
nice sounding engine too.
Yeah.
Running nice and quiet.
Yeah, really the only stuff that I can complain about is the steering and brakes. Holy crap, they got a lot going on here.
Yeah.
Turn around over here.
Busy today.
All right, so we did a quick test drive around the block. As I mentioned, we didn't. I was kind of too impatient, so we didn't have a license plate on her, a license plate mount. There's no lights. There's, the alignment needs to be done. Typical stuff when you get a car going. You want to just drive around the block, but mainly we wanted to just see how the car drove. Everything is different on this thing. Mechanically, we changed a lot. And it was kind of crazy. I mean, we took it around the block and it felt like the car had been together like that forever. There was no major noises. It shifted fine. The clutch worked great. All that stuff. Any of the issues that we had were stuff that was already pre-existing. I knew when I drove this car with the 4-cylinder, the alignment was off on this thing, and one wheel's going straight and one's going to the right, and it makes the car a little squirrely when you hit the brakes, and if you could feel it pulling. So that was stuff that just normal maintenance stuff that needs to be done. I don't know if it's just improper alignment or maybe there's a tie rod that's worn. We'll have to figure that all out. But all the stuff that we did seems pretty darn good. It's charging, it starts nicely. I mean, really, it sounds good. So I'm pretty excited. So, and this is kind of like the next step I feel like a guy would have done back in the day in the Dry Lakes era, the early days of hot rodding. You started with your stock 32 hand-me-down Roadster that maybe was a used car, drove it around for a summer, pulled the fenders off, and drove it around a little more, and then all your buddies had V8 cars, and you're like, I need a V8. You swap the V8 in. So what's next? Probably things like juice brakes, maybe lower the windshield height just a little bit, and some other similar modifications. We're still keeping it very tasteful, very subtle. We're not going to slam it to the ground real far. I may lower it just a little bit, but nothing real crazy. The main thing is to keep the silhouette of the car very much an early style 32 Roadster hot rods. So that's all I have for this one. Huge step being able to actually take this thing out and drive it around. The new exhaust sounds awesome. It cooled, which is most important with a flathead. It's in probably the low or mid 80s today, and we just drove around the neighborhood and idled it and didn't really get it going fast enough for the radiator to do much, help, and the thing didn't seem to get warm. So that is a huge win in our books, because anytime you can get a flathead that runs nice and cool is a good day. So that's all I have for this one. Thanks, guys. Let me know what you think of the 32 Roadster buzzing by in the last couple shots. Catch you later.